Hi, and welcome to my series on leadership. I mentioned earlier in a video that I would be doing a 5-part series on leadership, and I wanted to start that off with just an introduction into what my thoughts are on leadership and what I think are good attributes to have for people that are seeking positions in leadership or management. I firmly believe that you could go through your entire career as an individual and still not be considered a leader. I think there's certain attributes that leaders have that they bring forward that make them good. I think in general, companies will look to individuals who are productive and producing in their area, and then select those people to possibly lead in a group or lead a group of people in a project. Things of that nature. So the issue with that is that a person could be excellent in their job and what they're capable of doing, yet not really possess the attributes of being a good leader. And that's incredibly important. So what you have is somebody who knows the job and knows how to do it, but doesn't have the ability to bring people on board and get people to follow them and to respect them and to understand what they're trying to do. So they probably lack in some communication skills, but I have a list of attributes that I feel are important to have. So if you're looking to possibly move into a leadership position or a high management role, these are things that you might want to consider beforehand to be better prepared for it. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, and certainly, some people are selected for these positions and they get them and they do well. But I think some of the things you have to realize is that some people could be in a leadership role and still not really possess the ability to lead, and they won't have the team on board with them, and they won't have people following them and contributing to that. Yet you could have somebody who's not designated to that type of a role, that is in maybe a lower position or whatever, but chooses to take a leadership role in the functions that they do and help other individuals that they work with to achieve their goals and move forward. And that's essentially what leadership is. It's kind of something that you're born with. It's a natural ability to get people to come along with you. If you think of it, there's two different, I guess the simplest way to describe it is there are two types of leaders in a sense. There's the leader that wants to stay on top of his group of people, his team, and just keep them just under him, so he's always on top, or they're always on top. And then you have the one where the leader's actually on the bottom and pushing his team up. And that's the kind of leader you want. You want the leader that's going to build people up so that they exceed expectations and they do better things. And in an organization, to have people like that is an incredible benefit, because you cannot have too many leaders. Once you get to the 5th level of leadership, and I'm going to go through the 5 levels of leadership and what they're all about. But when you get someone who's at the top and they have people with them, you don't want to stop those people from growing. You want those people to get on top. You can never have enough leaders, because having leaders that excel in their business and what they do creates more momentum, creates more innovation, creates more opportunities. So having all of those people building and creating more for your organization is exactly what you want it to do, because then it just continuously grows and prospers and becomes even more valuable to the people that it's offering its service to. So just to start off, I just want to go through a list of things that I feel are important attributes to have as a leader that you can bring forward or bring with you or hone and practice on your journey to being a leader, a good leader, or building yourself up to be a leader. I think everybody is capable of being a leader, and some people are capable of being extraordinary leaders. But with, time and practice, and with the intention that you want to be a good leader, if you look at some of these attributes, you may find them helpful. One of the first things I think is pretty pretty straightforward and probably obvious to a lot of people, is that, you know, you have to have a very strong sense of self-awareness. You have to know what your limitations are, what your abilities are, and be able to manage those, to bring those and open those with other people. You have to be able to manage yourself. You have to be able to be vulnerable enough to let others know that these are my weaknesses. This is my strength. This is my weakness. This is where, you know, I'll be looking to you for more help, for direction, for your input, things like that. You have to be able to know yourself to an extent where you're comfortable, you can admit your mistakes, you know what you're not capable of doing, you know what you are capable of doing, you know how you function, and be aware of that, where you fall short. I think that where you fall short is sometimes more important than where you actually excel, because it's where you fall short that people don't ever really want to bring out and let people be aware of. But I think it's very important in the leadership role that you do that, and that you do allow people to see that part of you. So I think on an ongoing basis, it's probably something that you just you kind of self-assess through your life and through your career, things that you've been through and how you're managing things, and being aware of those. It's incredibly important. Another area, of course, would be, you know, effective communication. You have to be a good communicator. You have to be able to get your message across, but you also have to be able to, you know, enhance your ability to explain to people what you need them to do, what their expectations are, what the mandate is, what the end game is. You have to be able to communicate why people are coming on board, working with you, and what they're going to do and what they're going to get. Communication is essential, and allowing your team to communicate with you is also essential. You have to have open lines of communication. You have to be very capable of expressing what your needs are, what your expectations are, and where you expect to go, where you expect the team to go, when you expect these things to happen, those types of things. You can't be a person who has a lot of gray area. Another area that is incredibly important is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is your ability to manage your emotions and the emotions of others. So, you know, it's one thing to be able to manage yourself, when you're finding yourself to be in a difficult situation, or, you know, mounting stress because of deadlines, mounting stress because of your work-life balance and the fact that it's non-existent or it's not happening for you. You have to be able to balance those things. You have to be able to check in on yourself and know how you're going to manage that, how you are going to react. Knowing how you react to certain situations allows you to prepare for that and to be able to manage that better than if you don't have that sense of emotional intelligence. But the other thing that it does is it allows you to help other people who are having difficulties, who are having, you know, a hard time with, you know, the workload, not being home because they're working late, being stressed by deadlines. Your ability to help people through that is very important and key to having a successful team as well. So your emotional intelligence, enabled to help you, enabled to help the others, is incredibly important. You have to be able to visualize and strategize. You have to be able to set goals, have plans, put plans in place, and get people to come along with you. That's important. And, you know, a lot of these things you might think like, oh, of course, like that's common sense, but it isn't always common sense. And that's where companies run into problems, because they assume that because somebody can do a job, they can lead a job. And that's not the case. Quite often, that is not the case in a lot of instances. That doesn't happen all the time. Adaptability. You have to be able to adapt to changing situations rapidly. You have to be able to adapt to, you know, changes in people coming and going. changes in a project, changes in budgets, changes in the environment that you're working in, all kinds of things. You have to be adaptable. You have to be able to embrace adaptability and jump on different things that are changing constantly, deadlines, money. Like I said, one of the most important things with adaptability is your ability to embrace change and take it as a challenge, but also learn, not only learning from your mistakes, because a lot of people, that's what I made a mistake and I've learned from it, but you also have to learn from what your successes are, because you want to repeat those things. So you want to learn, what did we do that was so spectacular that we had such great results? You want to know how you did that just as much as you want to know how you didn't do that. So that's very important in managing your team, your work, your life, your everything about it, right? Adaptability is incredibly important. You have to be decisive. You have to be able to make decisions, sometimes with little information, or not as much information as you would like to have, but you have to make those decisions, and you have to make smart decisions and decisions that you're going to stick to, and understand that you can't always make a decision that's based on exactly what's going to happen or have all of the exact information that you need or data that you need. So you have to make a decision based on your knowledge and your experience, and maybe the input from your team and others that are working in your area, because they'll also have really good insight to that. But you have to be able to make that decision and understand that the decision you make is yours, and you have to live with the consequences of that, which is perfectly fine if it's good or bad, as long as you acknowledge that and you know it, right? But it's always good to have that ability to know, if this works, this is what's going to happen. If this doesn't work, this is also what's going to happen. And then you can manage that as it comes through, right? Because a lot of times you're making decisions and you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You have a pretty good idea what the outcome is going to be, but you don't always know exactly what's going to happen. You want to allow empowerment of others on your team. You want to give them responsibilities, give them accountability, give them the ability to contribute, to build their portion of what they're doing. You always want to be inclusive, and you always want to have people feeling like they are contributing. That's incredibly important, that they're there giving back and doing what they can do and contributing to the end game. I say that a lot, like, you got what the end game is. What is the end game? How do you contribute to the end game? What are you doing for the end game? That's key. That's vital for a lot of people, like, to keep your team engaged and wanting to be there and wanting to contribute and wanting to stay those extra hours when you need them, or wanting to have that innovation, the ability, encouragement of your team. That's what it does. Like, empowering your team gives them that sense of innovation, like they want to do it, they want to experiment, they want to build and develop and grow. That's exactly what you want to happen, but it's only going to happen if you empower them to do so. So, there's no throwing somebody under the bus. There's no taking credit for somebody else's work. Like, what you want is to be in the background, so that when your team flourishes, it looks like the team's flourishing because of you, but you're not taking the credit. You have to allow your team to reap the benefits of what they're doing and how they're helping you. It's only because of your team, and good or bad, your team is going to put you where you're going to be. So if you have a great team, you're going to go up, and if you have a really shitty team, you're going to go down, and you're going to go down faster than you go up every time. So you want to make sure you empower those people and encourage those people to learn and grow and be part of that. Conflict resolution is another thing. So not only with you and a team member, or you and other management people, but you and your teams and people on your team having conflict with each other, you have to be able to manage that. So all of these things that we've been talking about, there's various courses and programs that you can take to help you, like mediation courses and such. Any one of these things is available in some type of program or course, a lot of which we offer and do as well. One of our whole packages is based on, developing your leadership skills and giving you the ability to learn these types of techniques and how to properly communicate, how to listen, how to negotiate, how to help resolve conflicts on your team, on your management team, on your group, wherever they are. You have to be able to do that and be fair and decisive and still have people that want to work with you and still have people that want to contribute, and understand that, not everybody can have their way. It's, that's human nature, that's life. You can't always do what exactly you want to do, but you have to be able to help them through that and mitigate that to make sure that everybody's on board and understands that, sometimes somebody has a better idea than you, or somebody can do something better than you, and that's okay, because you're stronger in other areas or whatever. But I think you get the point of what I'm trying to make. Time management. Time management is crucial, as we all know. Managing our own time can be difficult sometimes, and balancing everything that we have to do and where we want to go. But I think it's important to ensure that your team has a good sense of time management when it comes to deadlines, when it comes to, project management, when it comes to getting things from other people. How do you do that? Like, how do you block your time? What amount of time do you give to this? What amount of time do you give to that? How do you go about arranging that? So you should have a very solid format for how to manage time and how to get things done. There's tons of systems out there, as we know, for keeping people on track and keeping businesses or keeping projects in check and timelines and such. So you want to make sure that you have something like that, but also that everybody knows how to use that. Everybody's aware of how to use that. Everybody's aware of what they have to do, when they have to do it. Time management is crucial. The keys to good time management is, setting deadlines, be consistent, good time management tools available to your team to make sure that everybody's on board, like systems that allow you all to participate in a project and know where everybody's at, instead of wondering like, oh, I didn't do this, where other people can see, okay, somebody's like falling short. Why is that person falling short? Where are they not making ends meet? Can I help them? Can we defer it to someone else? Can we do something to move that along so that we get the results that we want to get? That's very important. It's setting clear priorities and making sure that everybody's on side. Also, finally, lead by example. If you can't set the proper example for your team, who are they going to look to do that? Where are they going to go to find that example, that mentor? If you're asking them to do something, make sure you do it yourself. Make sure that you're not asking them to do something you've never done. Like, how does that happen? You can't. You have to make sure that you give them an example. Like, you are the leader. They're going to follow you. That's what you want. You want them to follow you, but you want them to follow you for the purpose of growing, because you're a mentor and you're helping them and you're developing them and you want them there. You're taking care of them. And they're basically, these are your projects. These are your siblings. They're going to grow and they're going to develop the way that you lead them. So that's going to say a lot about you at the end of the day. Like, where these people end up is a direct reflection of you. And that's important. And you want to remember that every step of the way. So people are going to leave your team. I mean, it's normal for whatever reason. But when they do, you want to make sure that they're not leaving your team because they're pissed off with you, or you're a shitty manager, a shitty leader. You want to make sure that they're leaving because they're going to something better. And you want the people to do that. It's great. Congratulations, right? Because that is what they do, is a direct result of what you did. And you have to remember that. You have to have that. That has to be in your mind the entire time that you've got these people in your watch. So with that is my kind of lengthy introduction to my leadership series. So watch for the first segment, which is going to be a description of, when you're first selected to a leadership role and how you manage that, and what are the things that you can do to make sure that that's going to be a successful experience for you and everybody else involved. Take care, and we'll talk soon.